This is going to be my first dive since last October, and the exciting part about that, well, there's a couple exciting things, but the first and most exciting part is that it is not in a quarry in Pennsylvania. It's not Lake Hydra, formerly Dutch Springs. I am currently in Deerfield Beach, Florida, diving with Dixie Divers. With the new dive season, I have some new stuff to play with. I right now just kind of rock with a GoPro setup, just very bare bones. Right now I'm recording on it, so I can't show you that. But I have a GoPro Hero 12. Here's the housing. I bought one of these guys to hold the GoPro as such. And the other reason I bought these guys is I now have dive lights. I have two of these. One of them is actually I'm using right now to kind of fill in my face for this quick little video, and there'll be two lights. I can also stack the lights if I want to add more power, or sometimes I prefer having light more on one side than the other. It's just my style. I also bought red filters. However, there was a problem. I ordered the red filters and quickly realized the housing I had, it didn't clamp on the way it's supposed to. This is too big or this is too small, whatever. I realized, however, that this is not an official GoPro housing. And I realized that because I thought this was the problem. I thought I ordered the wrong filters because in the description, it did not mention the GoPro Hero 12, which is what I use. So I ordered a different set. And I was kind of intrigued by these. This is a little more cumbersome because it's not a flip thing. You have to switch between these. It's not the end of the world, but the thing that I'm very curious about is it comes with a macro lens. So that would be kind of cool for doing close-up stuff with the GoPro, which is kind of my biggest pet peeve with the GoPros is they're pretty limited in terms of how far I can push in and get tight shots. But the red filters are nice. Even came a little guide on the back of the box as to what depths to use that at. However, I got this thinking this would work fine, and still same problem. And I hope it is because this is a third-party housing. What I did is when I landed at Fort Lauderdale Airport, I found a Best Buy, and I picked up an official GoPro housing. Let me just see. Here's the macro lens. No, it doesn't work. Doesn't work. Oh, it works. Now I'm curious, since we have them all here now. A little fastener on the side here. So I think if I just loosen that, I should be able. I'm already not crazy about this setup. I mean, I like the convenience of flipping through them because as you descend, like if you're in different parts of the water column throughout the dive, it'd be nice to just flip intensities of red filters. Okay. Cool. I think that's pretty sturdy on there. So, okay. So we have two different intensities of red that I can flip between them. I mean, I think I could even stack these. So if I get really deep. Okay. So now they both work. I should have looked at the case to begin with. I didn't think about the fact that a third-party case would be slightly different. Yeah, now I'm excited to go diving tomorrow. Little update. Got a call from Dixie Divers saying they did not have enough people to send the boat out tomorrow. So they had to cancel the whole trip, which is something I kind of had in the back of my mind for a while because I booked it on a Monday just because of how my work travel was set up. And I kind of figured Mondays might be tough and they might not get as many people. It was a bummer to get that call at 3:34. Kind of didn't know what to do. Kind of was short on options. I called around to a few places to see if anybody was going out tomorrow. And luckily I found South Florida Diving Headquarters is going out tomorrow on, I think it's Cogtow is it's an advanced dive site. So I'm excited for that. I'm glad that I was able to salvage the day. That's good. But yeah, now I am going to head to dinner at the Cove and call it a night and get an early start tomorrow and head out diving. Alright, we started off our dive pretty strong with a great barracuda just kind of hovering around us. Actually, the barracuda followed us for most of this first dive as we go through Qualman Tug here. There was just a lot of life. It was a really cool wreck to dive on. As you can see, there was a swim through that when one buddy went through. I didn't go through it. I didn't notice it until he popped out of nowhere. And I'm about to give an okay sign, but there's a lot of water in my mask for me to be okay. I struggle with that a lot just because my mask is not a great fit. It's the best fit I've found so far. And also, facial hair does not help. There are a lot of these great cones. I'm not sure what the official name of these coral formations is, but it was really cool to just kind of peep in there. And then my one buddy pointed out a bunch of spiny lobsters, but this one I was able to get the closest on and test out my new lights. That was really cool. And this is just me getting up close and personal with a hogfish. See a bunch of those cones around there on the bottom. My last shot there. My buddy Greg was kind enough to deal with the dive flag. I don't think you can dive in South Florida without a dive flag. And when you're diving to 80 feet and you have to deal with a reel, that's kind of a pain. So he was experienced with it and a trooper. You can just see the massive amount of life on these reefs as I start to hone in on what is one of my favorite fish. I love pufferfish, and I love these guys, which are porcupine fish, which are similar to pufferfish, except when they puff up, they have little spines. So you really don't want them to get upset and puff up on you because they get spiny. As you can see, he's not thrilled with me and my lights. So he goes into his little hidey hole, and I, at this point say, thanks for the visit. I am going to head out now. These are just a bunch of blue striped grunts, and they were all over the reef. And now we are on our surface interval, and we're about to jump in on our next dive here. Again, Greg holding the dive flag and the reel. And then I look over at Greg, and he gives me what is my favorite signal, hand signal, which is the hand on the forehead facing upward, which is sign for shark. And there is the nurse shark. And this nurse shark, I was kind of expecting just to kind of get a quick glimpse, so I quickly pulled out my GoPro and started rolling. And I figured this was the best I was going to get. But nurse shark kept just circling around us and kind of just letting me get closer and closer. So I was like, hey, as long as we're both heading in the same direction, I'm just going to keep rolling. And that's kind of what happened for a little while. We had no current, which was great, but we were also supposed to meet our dive boat heading north. So we're swimming north, and as long as this nurse shark was swimming north with us, I kept rolling on it. And honestly, I could have done that all day. how close this nurse shark was allowing me to get. Again, the GoPro is kind of deceiving because it's just a set wide angle lens, but I would say at this point I'm about 15 feet from the nurse shark. You know, and this one's probably about, I would guess, 5 feet long. It was just a really awesome experience, and after I rolled for what felt like 20 minutes on this nurse shark, I had to give Greg a fist bump for pointing that out to me, because that was, I probably would have missed it. Or maybe not. It just circled forever. Who knows? I think that was the end of our nurse shark encounter, which again was way longer than any of us expected. You know, I'm not familiar with these particular waters and the animals in it, but once we got back on the boat, they were all very surprised at how long that nurse shark hung around us. So I guess I was particularly lucky. And then this is a nudibranch, and if anybody knows what kind it is, please comment, because on my fish guide that I bought at the shop, there are no nudibranchs, or those that don't know what nudibranchs are, they're sea slugs. I don't know what kind of nudibranch this is. Please let me know, and if you do, I will make sure to favorite that. The other really nice thing about these set of dives was, for the first time in the ocean, I was not limited by how much air was in my tank. Basically, I could have dove for a whole hour, but we had a tight schedule on the boat, so like we had to be back on the boat within 50 minutes. So I didn't use all my air. So on the surface, or on the safety stop, I was able to just kind of swim around and roll a little bit longer, and it was a really great dive. I was very confident and happy with my air consumption, which you know, people told me would come with time, and it seems like it has. So for those newer divers out there, it happens. And that's it. That's my trip to Boca and Deerfield. Thanks for watching.